Happy Devil's Wednesday. This is the Woo Report. The Woo Report, episode 470, coming to you live from an undisclosed office in beautiful New Jersey. Streaming live on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, X Live, and now on Instagram Live on the Let's Go Devils Network. As Tom Fitzgerald, the Devils GM, finally breaks his radio silence. An impromptu select media press conference about an hour and a half ago today. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. So finally, Tom Fitzgerald breaks his silence. We've been waiting for a long time. It's almost like he went into hiding for those several weeks where you had the Quinn Hughes trade saga, you had the 9-0 loss against the New York Islanders on the road, the booing of Luke Hughes at home, the last home game. Tonight, the Devils play the Seattle Kraken at the Rock. Devils finally getting a win. He's finally getting a win against the Minnesota Wild on Monday, and then suddenly Tom Fitzgerald shows up around 10:15 a.m. Eastern for this powwow that he had with the select media. I thought it was very interesting. I watched the replay of the press conference, the presser, and I have some comments, and I want to hear what you have to say as well. If you didn't catch it earlier, that Tom Fitzgerald says what we say on this podcast: accountability. It's all on him. This is what he said. He said, it's all on me. That he's the guy on top. He's the guy in charge. I mean, I kind of appreciate that. A little too late, but better late than never, is what they say. But a couple of my notes that I wrote down about that press conference that Tom Fitzgerald had with the select media. Number one note that I took was Amanda Stein didn't start the questioning. That's a start. Then I knew it's serious. Then I knew it was serious because you had everybody there, good friends of the podcast like Christy Flannery, the Hockey News. You had Ryan Novozinski, NJ.com, James Nichols of, I think it's New Jersey Hockey Now, but I think it's Sports Not. I think that's what they call it right now. So you had a lot of, familiar faces in the media and also good friends of the podcast asking some questions, and some of these questions were a little awkward. They were tough, but that's what they're supposed to do. So, but Tom Fitzgerald says he's holding himself accountable. We've talked about the A word so many times on this podcast, the accountability. And it wasn't too long ago when Travis Green, who was the interim head coach, called this group immature. When they did not make the playoffs, not this past season, but the season before, but that was one season removed from their record-breaking 112-point season, saying that this group was immature. And, we talk about accountability on this podcast, and Tom Fitzgerald did talk about accountability. He talked about holding himself accountable, the team accountable, and, again, a lot of what I took from this press conference. Look, as a fan, I appreciate it. The radio silence does nobody any good. He went face to face with the media. I think that was good. Again, a little too late, but then again, better late than never. But it's on him. His DNA is on this team. No question. Tom Fitzgerald's DNA is all over this team. And I could appreciate that as a fan that he says that, but where do we go from here? Because words should not move you. Action speaks louder than words. Again, a lot of cliches on this podcast. Some of the stuff that was said, let's go with some of the fastball questions that were said. So somebody said about the job security about Sheldon Keefe, his job. He said that they are in lockstep. Tom Fitzgerald said they're in a lockstep. So, also, I have here. Sorry, my computer and my phone just froze, but also with Dougie Hamilton. About that. And Tom Fitzgerald, and rightfully so, was not going to make any comments on details. When asked about the Minnesota trade that allegedly Dougie Hamilton Knicks would not comment on it. But and about any kind of trade scenarios, because there have been rumors about Dougie Hamilton being in some trades. Dougie Hamilton's agent and Tom Fitzgerald's in constant communication. Again, some generic answers here, but don't kill the messenger. I just want to, those that did not watch or listen to this press conference should know. So, he also, Tom Fitzgerald, and we're going to bounce around here, just going through my notes, that he doesn't think the other night in Minnesota was a fluke. That's Tom Fitzgerald's assessment, about the other night in Minnesota when the Devils beat the Minnesota Wild 5-2. He did not think that that was a fluke. He also kept on mentioning, and I think he was kind of holding on to it too much during the press conference, that he kept on saying that the team is healthy now, that he would love to see what a healthy New Jersey Devils team can do, that they got all their players back. And I'll give him that, but if you're holding just on that, Tom, there's a lot more than just being healthy. There's a lot of things that the Devils can do to improve their chances of making it into the playoffs. But again, he was saying he was actually talked about it a lot about the team being healthier right now. Also, he felt that, again, this is kind of hopeful, wishful thinking. Tom Fitzgerald also made mention that the Devils are one streak away from where they want to be in the standings. And he kept on referring back to the first 15 games of the New Jersey Devils, how they started the season. So, again, it's again, he didn't say much, but at least he talked to the media. At least he talked to the media. And that's a start for me, but it's not, it's a non-starter if Tom Fitzgerald kept on his radio silence. Again, he was being strategic when to talk to the media. It's just the team was getting their asses kicked left and right, in this past week. So, but he chose to talk to the media today. It seemed like it was kind of sudden. I would like to know if this was pre-planned at all, but and everybody sat around, asking questions, not just softball questions, but there were some hard questions there. But he tried to sidestep in a way. When asked, can you trade your way out of this? And again, he sidestepped. He's taking it day by day. Tom Fitzgerald. He's taking it day by day. Also, another, I think it was Ryan Novozinski that asked, or was it James Nichols? I forgot who, and I apologize. But about the rumor that he overruled the analytics department when they said to him that Andre Palat do not sign him. But but he overruled them and signed, obviously, Andre Palat to that $6 million AAV deal. Tom Fitzgerald said in the presser that he said he did not go over his analytics group to sign Palat. Matter of fact, he said it wasn't true. Whether you believe it or not, again, he said it was not true. All that. Another, last but not least, in the press conference, when asked, "Are you willing to mortgage the future to help the team?" He said yes, as long as it helps the team. But right now, they got to do more than that, just that, to help the team, and the team needs to keep on improving every day. So take it for what it's worth, but at least Tom Fitzgerald breaks his radio silence, talking to the media, Again, talking to, some of the folks that we've had on this podcast, like Christy Flannery of the Hockey News, or James Nichols, New Jersey Hockey Now, and Ryan Novozinski and J.com. Also, Ken Danico even asked, again, a good friend of the podcast, asked questions, during that press conference. So I want to hear your thoughts going into the YouTube Live right now. I see a lot of folks commenting. Michael Hayes saying, good day, listen to all. GM, it's true, you talked, yes, a little too late. Time will tell. Max is just tuning in. What happened? Tom Fitzgerald had a press conference with the select media today. Some of the questions that were asked, I was happy about. Some of the tougher questions. Again, just like any other GM in the National Hockey League or in sports, trying to sidestep some of it, would not give the details of with Dougie Hamilton and all. If you're having audio issues, I'm seeing that right now. Max, I would say log out and log in, but I don't know if you can hear me at all. But the stream should be loaded. Sometimes Facebook or YouTube Live, it's on them. There's nothing I could do about it. But yeah, if you reset the feed, and again, a lot of it is I can only see what I'm delivering to YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, X. I can see that it's working fine. I can't control their servers, just to let you be aware. So, but it's good that you let me be aware that what's going on. But sometimes what they have is kind of a server burp in the midst. Sometimes you just got to reset it. It's never 100%. Anyway, seeing some, let's see here. Dubs is like, that's how Tom Fitzgerald roster builds, hopes and wishes. Good point. And that's a little discouraging for me. I'm all about having folks that are optimistic. But, again, if you're hopeful, great. But I like to see action. I like to see what you're doing. I like to know the thinking. If you're not going to take any action, I want to know why. We always have to ask why and because. And again, Wimpy says nothing burgers for everyone. Yeah, I mean there were some nuggets in there, nothing to really catch or whatever. And again, I'm not about the gotcha media at all. I'm not about that at all. I want to report what happened and I want to discuss about it. BG says you are on mute. That's not true. I am sending audio signal out to you got to reset it on your end. It is not me. Roman says at the end of the day, as bad as this has been, if we win tonight and Saturday, we probably back into the playoffs, and that's a massive if. Again, like what we said on Devils After Dark the other night on Monday night. That game does not mean anything against the Minnesota Wild if they don't win or put a great effort tonight against the Seattle Kraken. You want to go streaking? That's what Tom Fitzgerald said. He feels that they're one streak away of being back in it. Okay. You got to let this thing snowball. You cannot stop the momentum that you have coming out of Minnesota. And that means Jacob Markstrom, if you're starting in goal tonight, I haven't seen the lineup yet, but if you're starting, you have to get to a fast start like you did the other night. Slow starts will kill the momentum of what the Devils have. They have to come out strong. They have to be sharp early on. They've got to get the puck on net, and they've got to play well defensively. Again, who's going to be in the lineup? Well, finally, with everybody back, Sheldon Keefe can start holding players accountable. You sit Dougie Hamilton one game, the next game you play Dougie Hamilton. He's got 2 assists. The Devils win. Accountability is everything. What have you done for me lately? That's the mindset that Sheldon Keefe has to coach with. and see where this goes. Miggy Ribs, I haven't seen you before. If you don't mind, subscribe to our YouTube channel at Let's Go Devils. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch at Let's Go Devils Podcast, and on X at Let's Go Devils Pod. Michael Hayes says, winning solves all. It's the only answer. Afraid 2 jobs on the line. They know it now. Judy, Dougie playing until he gets moved. Maybe so. But right now, as long as Dougie Hamilton is playing well in the lineup, I'll take it. People love the fancy stats, and I think Dougie is still good. Eye test says he isn't good. Yeah, I'm not. Again, I'm all about the eye test. I'll look at analytics if I see anything glaring, but I'm eye test first, analytics second. It's a necessary evil. I'll concede that, but sometimes when when analysts look at the data and all that, I think they just put too much emphasis on that, and you can't put analytics first over the eye test. And the reason why is hockey is an emotional game. It's a very emotional game. And that's why you can't take the emotion out of the game when you make those judgment calls. You can't be all analytics or lead with analytics. There's still the human element there. That's what makes hockey the best sport, in my opinion. And that's why I think it's better than baseball. You can make an argument with baseball with the analytics, but in terms of hockey, because it's such an emotional sport, if analytics were truly perfect, the 1980 Miracle on Ice team, Team USA, would have never won that game if that was true. But they did. And there's reasons for that. Anyway, that's just my opinion. Wimpy says emotional and mental. Joey B, Sam Wu, the analytics junkie. Far from it, Joey. Far from it. I hate analytics. Roman says, according to the analytics, we had more expected goals than the Islanders during a 9-0 loss. It just misses badly sometimes. Of course. Joey B says, eye test first, then analytics. Sam Wu needs to be the Mel Kiper Jr. of the NJ Devils draft and scouting ops. No, Sam Wu needs to be resting during the NHL draft because that means the season is over. It's a long season. I mean, this condensed scheduling, they talk about with the players, and even Tom Fitzgerald talked about the condensed scheduling, that he's never seen something this intense before in his years of playing and being a GM. But try covering this team. That condensed scheduling. I mean, heck, I'm in the office right now trying to keep up with the news day going on right now. The arena in Milan, what a joke. No bathrooms for fans attending. WTF. Well, you know what? If there's no bathroom for fans are going to get louder and louder and louder, because there's actually been a study done. There was actually, somebody told me about this, about European Premier League soccer, that a lot of the fans piss in their pants, and it gets them even angrier and angrier and angrier as the day, the game goes along. There's actually a study on that. I got to look that up. That was like years ago. Somebody told me, and if that's happening in Milan, in Italy, where they're having trouble putting that ice hockey arena together, and there's no bathrooms, I think the fans are going to be. It's going to be like New Year's Eve, where you get hyped and you're wearing a diaper, I guess, in Times Square. I mean, I've never done that before, all that. I try not to piss in my pants, but anyway, that's another story for another day. Dubs is like, are we going to talk about Timo Meier? Is this guy playing hockey? I'm going to file a missing persons report to look for this dude. Tom Fitzgerald did talk about Timo Meier. He had praise about Timo Meier in the press conference. Again, I'm giving Timo somewhat of a pass because he was actually playing pretty well before he had to take a personal leave of absence to go back home. Whatever that personal leave of absence, we don't have the details on that. But just for, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. But yeah, you're right. Timo Meyer has to step it up at some point now that he's been back for a bit. And, and he's got to use his size. He's got, he's got to create his own opportunities. And he's going to get those opportunities for sure. He's definitely going to get his opportunities. So, what else? Well, Porta Potty says serve. Stanley says I try not to piss in my pants. Sound life advice from Sam LMAO. Oh, have you ever been stuck in traffic and you're in the Holland or Lincoln Tunnel? One time I had to go and I wasn't going nowhere, and thank God I had a Snapple bottle in the Woo Jeep one. Too much information, but that's what we do here on the Let's Go Devils podcast. Carry baby diapers, says Michael Hay. Well, years ago, I think there wasn't there an astronaut having an affair with another astronaut at NASA? And I guess the woman astronaut went psycho, and she wore adult diapers and drove like 19 hours straight or something like that to confront the other astronaut, something like that. Happened in Texas at that time. Joey B says, "Thank God I had a Snapple bottle." Oh yeah, Snapple bottle. Yep. I always carry one in my car. You just never know. Things you learn here on the Let's Go Devils podcast and the Morning Woo. We had a pretty good Morning Woo this morning. If you haven't listened to it, it's on all of our podcast pages as well. Let's see here. We got some more comments. Let's go to the Instagram Live. See who's watching, who's commenting on the Instagram Live. No, we just got watchers. On the Instagram Live. I mean, it's midday, folks. I'm going to be at American Whiskey later today. A Home Depot bucket is also good in case of number 2, Road Life, says Stanley. Well, I actually keep toilet paper where I keep my spare tire as well. Like Porta Johns, whatever. Sometimes you need toilet paper. Sometimes you go to places they don't have toilet paper. You got to be prepared. When you got to go, you got to go. I keep paper towels, toilet paper in my car. I keep hand sanitizer. You just never know where you go and when you're going to need it. Stephen Herschel says it's just concerning regarding his comments on Utica. Yeah, it's almost seeming like he's ignoring the fact and sidestepping the fact that Utica, their record's not very good right now. And he was focusing on the one positive that, but when they come up to the big club, that these players are filling in well when we need them, when we have all these injuries. Not very encouraging, because you need to develop your farm system if you want to have a long-lasting winning organization. Joey B says toilet paper brand, Charmin or Costco brand. I'll take all the above there. Costco brand seems to be, best value. Do like Charmin. Actually, one time in Times Square, I actually went to a Charmin. What was it? Kind of like a Charmin. Well, I hate this. You know how I hate the C word content? The other marketing term I hate is activation, but they had a Charmin activation where you go, they pull you from the sidewalk from Times Square, and I guess they had it for about a month, and they actually had like some kind of testing of different types of toilet paper. So they assign you, which bathroom to go to, and finding a bathroom in New York City. I know the mayor wants to have more public bathrooms, which I think they should. So I picked a bathroom, whatever. But they had all different types of Charmin toilet paper and all that. Um, but I like Charmin. I like Costco brand. Wimpy carries a crap kit. Can't say the S word on live air because we have, I have kids from high school that people from high school I went to. Their kids actually listen to this podcast. Can't believe that. I'm still mystified. Peter Seifert, I missed the pressure. What are the highlights? Well, we went over the highlights before Peter Seifert, but basically it was a whole bunch of nothing. Couple nuggets in there. Apparently, Tom Fitzgerald had the money to move around to facilitate a Quinn Hughes trade. That's what he said. And also, one of the highlights is it's on him. He holds himself accountable. And one of the other ones in that was he said it wasn't true that he overruled the analytics team about signing Andre Palat, saying that it was more of a team decision to do that. Bathrooms are important for a city with 8.5 million people. Joey B says Mo Beard kids watch Sam Wu's podcast during classes. If they do, so be it. So be it. A lot of people use fast food bathrooms. Yeah, I mean, years ago when apps came out, and on your iPod Touch and iPhone apps, I actually wanted to create an app. Rate my. I don't know. Maybe I'll say it. So for those listening in and have kids in the car, I'm giving you a warning. I'm about to swear. So turn it off for about 30 seconds and then turn it back on. But around 2007, I almost wanted to create an app called Rate My Shitter because, some of the bathrooms that you go to are freaking horrible, like in New York City. But if you had like an app that had, which stores is worth paying $5 for a coffee so you can use their bathroom, I was going to have that and have user generated ratings systems of that. But yeah. All right. For those that have turn off the volume, you can turn it back on. I'm not going to swear again. But yeah, I almost created an app like that. I was actually thinking, always something said there was a website called Rate My Poo. Remember there was a website called hotornot.com? That was a good site years ago. I don't know if it's still there. And then, there was one time. There was, Rate My Professor, all that. And there was one time I actually went out on a date once with, this is before Mrs. Wu time. This is way before Mrs. Wu, and I met. So this is single Sam. My friend's like, oh, why don't you go to match.com, download the app and go out on a date, try it. So I tried it and I met this PhD professor from UC Berkeley that was actually doing some coursework at Princeton University. So tells you how smart she was. And when I met her, she was smart, and we had nothing in common. We actually had nothing in common, except for she's like, "Oh, do you do fantasy hockey and fantasy football?" I'm like, "Yeah." Do you? She's like, "No, I do fantasy cycling." I'm like, "Fantasy cycling?" Okay. Anyway, long story short, she was kind of a bitch. And I actually left her at the bar. I actually went to the bathroom, told the bartender, look, I'm going to pay the tab. I'm not going to leave you hanging because it's not your fault. But this girl is a psycho because she yelled at me because I went back to China years ago on vacation to see where I came from. And she took offense to it because of the Chinese government. Not getting into politics here, but she went after me for that. Forget about the fantasy cycling, which I thought was stupid, but she went after me for that. So I'm like, all right. So I left her at the bar. I didn't even say goodbye. I left her at the bar. And then I looked up her name, like that Rate My Professor. Oh, the reviews on her were terrible. Oh my gosh. I was like, yeah, yeah. Too bad you can't review the people that you've met on Match.com. That would have been funny as well. But anyway, so that's my little story. This is pre Mrs. Wu days. I'm happily married right now. Love Mrs. Wu, and there's nobody like Mrs. Wu. She needs to go to the Vatican because she is a saint. Let's see here. Ted says I got to pee in the YouTube live. Gotta pee. Let's see here. The dudes from Jackets jumping into sewage. I don't know what you guys are talking about. Always, I take great offense to you visiting China, Sam. Think that's out of the order personally. Yeah, well, she was actually a sociology history professor. So, it kind of goes with the territory. And she was like questioning me why. And it's like, because my ancestors are from there and I wanted to see the village that my family came from. And boy, I didn't think it was such a big deal when I was like 22 years old going back for the first time. Yeah, how dare you, So, but anyway, yeah. I should probably look her. I don't remember her name, but yeah, her review that this professor is so boring. And I was like, yeah, of course she's boring. What she thinks is fun is fantasy cycling. Like I've never heard such a thing. Not fantasy football, not fantasy hockey or fantasy baseball. Fantasy cycling. What you pick the guy that's on steroids and he's gonna win the race? Like what the hell is that? Anyway. Yeah. Well, anyway, so we moved on. Yeah, so we recapped a whole bunch of nothing. I'll be at American Whiskey tonight for Game Day Live and Devils After Dark. And yeah. So that's the Woo Report, episode 470. I want to thank all those tuning in, dropping the podcast in about 20 minutes on all of our podcast pages. So it's actually going to be a quadruple header. Happy Devils Wednesday. We have Game Day Live, Vinny Parisi and I, and also Scotty, a Sirius XM, Liquid Metal, and I will recap the game that was. But yeah. All right. Well, we're getting out of here. Want to say goodbye to everybody. Thank you for making me part of your day. And yeah. You see what I do for you folks in the office? Yeah. Don't mind the mess behind me. I covered it up with some stuff. Anyway. Always something says 50's empty words. It feels took accountability, kinda, but it doesn't really help. Pod Legend says, Sam, when do you actually sleep? At night. Alrighty. Gotta go. Till next time, this is the Woo Report. Let's go, Devils.